later on.
Wow.
Tell me a little bit about what's going on as far as the Mississippi Department of Child Protection, because there are a lot of things that will take place or need to be taking place during this legislative session. So I'll let you take it from here. But first of all, how many kids do we actually have in custody under the State Department of Corrections, or the Child Protections, I should say?
We have about 3,850 right now, Paul, and it's hovered anywhere between 4,000 and 3,825 since I've been at the agency.
Where are they? Where are these kids?
They are all over the state. Many of them are in homes with relatives that stepped up and helped take care of the children. We keep them in foster care to help supplement the cost to those parents. Many of them are in foster homes, and then a few are still in more cottage, congregate care homes, older children particularly. We have some very nice homes across the state where they live in cottages of 5 or 6 kids and learn some independent living skills.
Are you confident as the commissioner that we are tracking these kids? The caseworkers know exactly what's going on, if not on a day-by-day basis, certainly on a week-by-week basis?
I am more confident than I was last year, Paul. We have a very antiquated computer system. I think you and I talked about that previously. Yes. The legislature's generously funded a project to replace it that the feds will match at a 50% rate. We are about to engage in a contract to start that work. We've spent the long process last year of getting an RFP procurement in the state to buy a $30 million computer system is, as it should be, complex. So we have pushed through that process. We have a vendor selected, and we're getting over a couple of hurdles with getting the contract negotiated, and hope to start work in February or March on that project.
Are those stumbling blocks to get the contract going and turnkey ultimately? Is that a state legislative problem or law problem?
Oh, no. They've funded this project for 5 years now. The biggest hurdles now are we had 8 vendors, which was really good news. We had a lot of selection, and some of those vendors have asked for public records to determine whether or not they want to protest not receiving the bid. But I feel like our procurement was very clean. We selected the lowest bidder with the highest technical score.
I do want to say this, because a lot of times you guys come on from the governor, lieutenant governor, everybody else, and we're talking about, like Bob Anderson was on from Mississippi Department of Human Services, and they talk about antiquated systems. And I think some people get the idea, well, if they don't have the latest technology, big deal, I don't either. You folks need to understand this. He's talking green screen. We're talking some people who you probably could go in there and look for parts at Radio Shack. You cannot service people today, and when you talk about the wait times and everything else, on a basis of even a small business customer list. Certainly not a statewide agency that is there. So, I mean, I'm not taking up the mantle for you or blowing your horn, but when you start talking about antiquated systems, it's not going to get any better. It's kind of like a cracked windshield. You can put some salve on it, but it's not going to get any better.
I really appreciate you saying that, because my system is a green screen and it's a postage stamp in the bottom right corner of the computer screen. So my folks are out there in the field trying to document where a child is, what's happened to them, in a little patch of screen that they really have to take home and connect to a larger monitor just to be able to access it.
When we talk about the adoption process, too, and I know that's something that you wanted to look at, and I think we have, my note here said 433 children who actually are available for adoption. And what's the age ranges of this?
Oh, they range anywhere from infants to 18.
Infants to 18?
Yes, sir.
Now, the last time we visited here, or we had somebody talking to us about this, and I think we were talking on the air about it several weeks ago, people said, I'd love to adopt somebody, but my God, it's just outrageously expensive. It will break my family budget and everything else to try to do this. How do you address that?
We actually help a lot with the cost of adopting, but our course to adoption is a little bit different based on the mission and nature of our agency. We ask parents to come in and be foster parents and foster for a period of time to determine if it's going to be a good fit. There's a minimum of 6 months that they need to have the child in their home, and the children that we have to foster also have to make it through, to adopt. Often there has been a parent involved in the child's life in some way. That's how they got into our care. So we have to go through a tedious process to terminate parental rights before the child's free for adoption. So there's some hurdles in working through our agency, and there's some time delays that we're really going to focus on this year. It's very important that our work be family focused in one way or another. We need to either focus on getting the child back into their own home safely with services, or into the home of a known relative or someone in their community that can keep them in their own school, in their own church, in their own baseball and football activities. Or get them into a good foster home rather than, an institutional type setting, or get them into ultimately a good permanent home. And that might be their own family, that might be extended family, or it might be an adoptive family.
It sounds like it's almost the devil in the details, because let's just say a 1-year-old, you have somebody who wants to adopt them, they go through the foster care program, they keep them for a year, and then all of a sudden the mother comes up or a grandmother comes up. She has more legal right to it than the foster parent does, and that's going to break the heart of a lot of people. So how do you deal through that?
It's the hardest work I've ever had to do, Paul. It's not happy work. Adoptions are happy, but it's messy, and you're talking about people's lives and children's lives. So it's one of those jobs where from the very start there's no right or best answer. It's really more of weighing the odds of what's the lesser of the evils.
Because when they have bonded, it's almost like they're losing a family member, and they certainly don't want to go through that again. But then again, on the other side, with older kids, there are people who understand that going into it, and it's not. I don't think it's quite as bad. Not that it's good, but they understand they love the child, and he or she is better with a parent or parents. So it's got to be why in the world did you pick out this type of career to be in?
Pick is an interesting word, Paul.
What is wrong with you?
I sort of fell into it. I ask myself that every day.
Somebody's got to do it, and God appointed you. So let's just end it right there. We got more. I want to talk about the rebuilding phase, and also some other things in the foster families and how they're needed, and what's your workforce like, and all of that as we spend a little more time with Andrea Sanders. Andrea is the Commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Protection Services. Ken Newberger joins us. He's Executive Director of the Mississippi Marijuana Association. Some questions to ask him. And if you have questions for Andrea or for Mr. Newberger, it is at 601-879-4395. Back with more next. Back with Andrea Sanders, Commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Child Protection Services. Andrea, we were talking about rebuilding phase, but I know the last time we were on, there were a lot of things that you hit the ground doing. And tell me where we are there as far as the rebuilding phase itself.
So, Paul, we're in the middle of the rebuilding phase that we renegotiated with the plaintiff's attorneys in the 17-year-old Olivia Y case. We're really in the early stages of the rebuilding year. It ends in January of 2023. One of the biggest priorities this year for our agency is that we have got to become caseload compliant. And what that means is that we've promised for 17 years that we will get enough social workers in the places where children are and need them so that caseloads are manageable and we can take appropriate care of children. To date, we are short approximately 100 caseworkers, and that means that we need 10 supervisors. We have a 1 to 5 ratio of supervisor to worker that's required.
And this is all over the state?
Yes, sir.
For the most part. All right, tell me a little bit, do a little bit of job qualifications here. How much are we paying? Where do you need them? When do you need them, which I understand is right away or yesterday, and what are the qualifications?
Right now, for a worker coming in with no experience, we are paying around $31,000, and we expect that to go up. The legislature's been very generous, and SPB, Kelly Hardwick and his team have done a phenomenal job of giving us a little more flexibility there. All of our employees are going to experience a 3% raise as a result of that work. So we expect that we'll be getting that bottom salary number up to around 33 or 34. They come in, and we can hire anyone from a teacher to a psychology degree, a social work degree. I'm going to tell you that I have a little bit of a preference for a social work degree because the content of what they study in school is so closely related to the work that we need to do. But we can take, really more important to me is someone who comes in with the qualities of being compassionate, willing to be accountable and be a problem solver, someone who's willing to engage with people. You have to care about children and their families to do this work.
They're on the road for the most part across in their district or across the state, or what's the job qualifications as far as the normal workday?
Right now, the work is largely county specific. We're looking to revamp that a little bit to give us more flexibility so that we can flex people across county lines when cases surge. But by and large, we have offices in every county, and there are needs in most counties. Now, we have, I would say, probably 10 identified counties that have what I call high need. They are running at a critical shortage, and those are going to be the larger counties.
I got you.
More urban in nature.
So they have their own. They got a medical package. They are on PERS. Is that correct?
Yeah,
correct. They are.
We get, for in today's times, the state fringe package is pretty phenomenal. And if you stay with the state for 27 years, I believe it is, which sounds like a long time to a young kid, but isn't it crazy how fast it goes?
It does.
You walk away with a phenomenal retirement package.
And as far as expenses, they have to have their own car, their cell phones. I'm beginning to sound like I'm working for the Mississippi Employment Security Commission here, but
Come
I think
on, we
people
can
want to
use
know
you.
this.
For a gig? Is that the deal?
But people want to know this. I mean, as far as expenses,
They
they're
do
taken
have to
care of.
have their own car. We reimburse mileage, but we provide a cell phone. We've just provided them all with new laptops and padded backpacks that are intended to carry the laptop and supplies for children.
If they work for a long time, can they get above the $40,000 a year level?
Absolutely. We have just, through this SEC Squared project with SPB, we've worked very closely with them to build out a career ladder that goes through 9 levels.
And what's the 9th level?
Salary-wise?
Yes.
You asked me one I didn't have written down, but
All right, let's give me the highest level that you know of as far as salary.
we're getting up to around 90,000, I believe, with the highest level.
Now, see, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
This is a workable
you have
structure.
something to work for and
Yes.
work through, because there are a lot of heartaches, like in any business. Come on, but this one touches the heart, and you're doing something that's really, really got to pay off in upstairs, I do believe. So anyway, the family matters, and you have foster families, and they need. There's some needs for foster families out there. There always is. Who are you looking for?
You know, again, folks who are first and foremost compassionate, but who are who understand the role that we play in terms of adoption and foster parenting. Our first goal is to see if we can help those parents and that child reunite, because it's less trauma for the child in 98% of cases. Most children want to be back home with their parents, and it is a more permanent solution. What we ask of foster parents, it's a really big ask, Paul. This is the job that just amazes me, that we have 1,800 families who do this. But we ask them to love that child like it's their own, to also work with the parent of the child and ensure that visits happen and that the child stays, connected to their family if it's safe to do so. This is all under a judge's supervision. But then know that they may have to give that child back one day, and that's best case scenario. That's what we're working for.
Yeah. You think about it, it's a great love to bring them into the home, and it's an even greater love to let them go. That's tremendous.
It really takes a special person.
Pandemic relief. You guys get any money from the pandemic relief? And if you did, where is it being used?
We got a little bit. We got about $3 million in the CARES iterations and a little less than $3 million in the ARPA iterations. A large portion of our money was designated for youth and transition services, and that is those older youth, 14 and older, who are trying to go into moving into independence. And so we gave out basically just monetary grants, was the way that federal program was designed, to help assist them if they're trying to buy a car, with some rent assistance, supplies for school, college, that kind of thing.
When you hear those success stories and you bump into somebody who's gone through that and you understand the life has been changed, that's got to be worth it. I mean, that's the lagniappe, isn't it?
It's amazing. I in fact, got an email from a young woman that works for us. She's one of our transition youth navigators on the coast, and I had spoken at a conference, and she heard me speak, and she wrote me and said, "You've really inspired me. I have my social work degree, and I want to get my law degree." She's a single mother. She came out of the foster care system. And so I've tried to stay in touch with her. I need to email her this week and just encourage her. I'd really like to see if I can help her find a place that could give her a scholarship to law school.
About that. Well, all of you people who heard that, Andrea's number. So give the commissioner a call. As a matter of fact,
shameless.
If you want any other information that we've just given, go to the website. The website is what?
www.mdcps.ms.gov.
You got it. Andrea, thank you. Always appreciate the visit and always enjoy them. Thank you so much, man.